South Bend, Indiana, and I'm here today on behalf of Indivisible Indiana District 2. I'm here to let you know that we cannot afford for the EPA to sell out our resources, our environment, our climate, and our public health to the highest bidder. I've read your affordable clean energy proposal, and it couldn't be more clear that selling us out is exactly what you're planning to do. This ACE proposal, according to your press release, is meant to be a plan to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and yet a closer look shows how little you intend to accomplish toward that objective. I see an EPA that is happy to deliberately and immorally put lives and the environment at risk so that the energy industry can burn coal without having to deal with pesky and costly regulations. Your greedy motives and corruption are so blatant in this document that you might as well have published a catalog of what's on offer from Trump's EPA. A cool $1 million for unhindered CO2 emissions at a coal plant of your choice. River's on fire? We can let you have that for $100 grand. These guys are selling. Buy one, get one free on contaminating aquifers. It sounds like a joke, but it's all too real. This ACE rule proposes a polluter's paradise. You couldn't possibly expect people to be okay with this. Of course we aren't. We're outraged. Do you really need me, a simple, high school educated, working class grandma, to tell you that this is bad for the environment? You don't. You know. It's right there in your proposal exactly what damage it will do. On page ES3 of your RIA, we learned that this proposal responds to industry complaints about the strict pollution protections of the new source rule by crafting a workaround to negate it. You tell us plainly that this EPA won't ask the industry to manage the emissions and pollution increases that will occur as they retrofit coal plants with your so-called best systems of emission reductions. I want to pause here to inform you that the best systems of emission reductions is not HRI retrofits on dirty coal plants. The true BSER is solar power, wind power, and energy efficiency. Also, in a capitalist society, a for-profit business that cannot afford to operate without polluting our environment and poisoning us with toxins does not deserve to stay in business. They certainly don't deserve to be propped up by our government with my hard-earned tax dollars. Your press release boasting that the ACE rule will reduce CO2 emissions ignores the data from table ES7. This table shows projected CO2 emissions as compared to the base case. The base case, as defined in your RIA, is the scenario that includes the Clean Power Plan, the very standard that your plan is meant to replace. Your own data shows how pitifully inadequate the Affordable Clean Energy Rule will be. According to your table ES7, we can expect an additional 61 million short tons of CO2 emissions in the year 2030 if we allow the Affordable Energy Rule instead of the Clean Power Plan, as well as substantial increases in both SO2 and NOx emissions. In Chapter 4 of your RIA, titled Estimated Foregone Climate Benefits and Foregone Human Health Co-Benefits, you fully acknowledge, detail, and monetize the detrimental health and climate impacts that will occur if the Clean Power Plan is repealed. In Chapter 6, you have the audacity to justify this cost by offsetting it against the money the industry will save while they pollute us to death. You mean to convince us that the industry's cost savings by not having to pay for pollution control is an appropriate measure of social costs. You propose that we let AEP and Duke Energy and the rest off the hook for the millions it would take to manage their toxic emissions. You put forth an absurd theory that this savings in private compliance cost equates to a bonus in social cost and thus offsets the harm done by all the polluting they will get to do without the Clean Power Plan. You call it net benefits. An environmental protection agency worthy of the name would know that no amount of profits to the industry could ever offset the destruction of our planet and the lives lost to pollution. Table 6.3 of your proposal is a gruesome exhibit wherein the Environmental Protection Agency has calculated that even though both climate benefits indicated in column 1 and health benefits Column 2 are sacrificed when you repeal the Clean Power Plan. It all comes out ahead in the net benefits. Column 3. In other words, when you factor in the money the industry won't have to spend to comply with all the regulations that you are going to repeal, the loss of life to this young baby and damage to the environment are totally worth it. That is the definition of calculated cruelty. The Affordable Clean Air Rule proposes that the air in the United States will only be as clean as the energy industry can make it. With a gift like this, the energy industry must surely consider the money spent to put polluters in charge of the EPA has produced an excellent return on their investment. The EPA is a disgrace. You have turned it into the Environment Polluting Agency. You've abandoned your mission and legal obligation to protect us from polluters. Shame on you. Shame on you for wanting this. Shame on you for putting in writing for the world to see. And shame on you for thinking that we the people will stand for it. We know that coal kills. We want Clean Power Plan. We want an EPA that works for the people, not the polluters.